You know, these things is important because if you don't develop your soul, upon passing away, your soul ceased to, you don't know, your soul don't even cease to exist because it never even had a chance. You will cease to exist, expire. What happens is you have to transition. When you transition, you go from physical to the astral, the next level of life, which is a higher density that you can't see of yourself. There's still more of you. There's plenty more of you. But remember, the eyes is really blind. A cat or a dog could see it, but you're not going to be able to see it because of the simple fact our eyes is weak. But there's more to you here. So you just transfer to a different one. This is the lowest one, so we could afford to leave without these up here being affected because they don't work on this earth plane or this dimension. They're operating in another dimension that you have no consciousness or memory of. But in reality, you were sent here to remember. You understand? And you have a procedure to do for you to remember. This is through God, religion, actually love. I'm not saying religion is correct because this is what got us in the situation of deception. I mean religion in your own self, your own faith, your own belief. Taking the books and researching, taking what's true out of it and dashing the rest away. The one that is true, you just use it as information. That is a source of a belief system because the only thing you got to believe in is what's inside of you. So on that note now, you have to awaken your soul. And that's a long time process. It don't happen overnight. But with each charge, you get closer. You know, there's many charges. You can use music as a charge, but it got to be some type of real thing that maybe you created yourself. Get you some equipment and start making your own beats and producing. Get you some canvases and paint, and get you some sketchbooks and start drawing. These things charges up your soul. Because it takes you going into another dimension, seeing an image in there and bringing it to life. Same thing, you hear music from another dimension and you bring it back to this world. That's how everything works. You understand? These are soul things. When you look around you, everything that you got, everything you see was once a thought, and they made it a reality through the soul. So you got to be able to add on to this. We can't just go around living in another person's mind or another person's world. You have a world of your own, but we got so comfortable being soulless, we think it's all right to just let somebody do it. And then we think you're just going to die and you read a book, one book that told you that you're good. It's not like that. You need to go and realize the Bible itself is a compilation of books from the ancient times. This is because you have what's called the New World. The East didn't need that. England didn't need a Bible. None of those places over there needed any type of religious literature because they had the whole East. They had all those books at their disposal. They was written in other languages, and only the Englishes really needed translation because they came last after the Moors defeated them. After they defeated the Moors. So this is why we don't have it in English. And so we live in an English life. You don't know those Eastern books of knowledge and wisdom a long time ago. You don't speak Demonic. You don't speak Coptic. You don't speak Greek. You don't speak Roman. You wouldn't know none of these in French. You wouldn't know none of these in German. They had to come down to those first before they got to English. So when you got the Bible in English, it's a copulation or a collage of a whole bunch of old wisdom of knowledge. Don't look at it as a true book that written by a man named God. God don't copyright books and publish books. And neither, it's the same thing when y'all send them God said stuff in the messenger. Y'all actually believe that in y'all heads. Come on. God don't work through no text message or internet. He's in you. What happened to the Bible and what fucking Jesus said about he's inside of you and he's in the Father and the Father is in you? What happened to that shit that he said don't go to the church and pray like the rest of those fake ass people and go inside and do it in secret if you want to pray because he already know what you need? That's all God's status. You got David said ye are gods. Jesus said ye are gods. I'm trying to inspire everybody. I know all the shit too from Egypt. But you can't talk on Egypt because Egypt is a decoy. They put fake information there that is a roadblock. So me trying to describe Egypt or wasting my time trying to decipher what they're lying to us about is just that. I'm just sitting down chasing their lies. You got to go around all of that. By now you should know everything came from Egypt. So you study everything else and you'll learn Egypt. It's that simple. But I'm not going to go and talk about Heru this and Thoth that, because you got to know white people invented these names. There's no such name that existed in demonic language. White people make it up, and I'm not disrespecting white people because everybody's cool. I fuck with everybody. But what I'm trying to tell you is the ruling power done made it up to cover who you are. This is all about you. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody's going to understand this, and this is not racist. White people, stay out of this. You don't understand this, okay? But this is for my peoples, for us. I know what's really going on. I'm in the spiritual world, and that's so I can tell you what's going on. And it's still a race thing up there. It's 100% race all the way through. Look at it as good and bad, evil and good. You understand? One is still imposing its will on the other. Night is still imposing its will on the day. If we ask for more day, the ocean would be, if it's pushing on the water, on the earth, is asking for more land, just like the land is asking for more sea. So they'll be both imposing their will on each other, which will make them both wrong. We're here to all live however we want. But that's not my point right now. This is all about your soul for right this second. But really, you understand how you're supposed to do now. Go out there and get some energy. The reason, too, now this connects with the merkaba, because this all what I call the aura or magnetic field, that would leave it in like a simple, just as you see in a color thing. What it's really called now, merkaba, is really now defining all the different categories to your magnetic field and aura, because it's like an intricate clock with many devices to keep it in the algorithm that, you know, is following like money compasses, just pointing north, but it keeps you balanced, keep you equalized, it keep you leveled, it keep you everything. They all work together. These is what they would call the gods. So anyway, you have a merkaba that you stay in. Even when you die, you never leave your merkaba. You are your merkaba. So in there, it's like a virtual computer of everything that ever created in reality, everything event that ever happened, you could see it. That's how psychics tap into, you know, criminal forensics. When they look upon them for assistance, they use their clothes or whatever to go back to that moment, going through their merkaba. That's how remote viewing's remote view. That's how astral traveling work. So you got to understand the merkaba is the soul's vehicle, and you have to ascend through meditation into the merkaba and learn what it's about, because it's a very complicated system that's already been compromised by the government. That's how they control your mind. You understand? And if you don't know about your merkaba, when you die, what's going to happen is you're going to decay. And if you decay and slow, you're going to be feeling like you're in hell. Whatever's coming to eat you is coming to damn near terrorize you, and you're going to be stuck in your body decaying until you actually finish decaying, until it's all over. That's a long time to be suffering. So a lot of Hindu people and all them used to cremate themselves so they could have a faster reincarnation. When you do it that way, you reincarnate probably within the next year or 5. But if you do the decay, you probably come back in 100 or whatever years. So there's a big difference to the process. I would choose the cremation because then you get to move on. Now, when you're decaying, that don't mean that you're there, literally stuck. Like I told you, if you die, you're dead. If you didn't break up your soul. So you'd be unconscious, really, for the process. Now, somehow, you know, there's glitches in the system. You wake up in there, you're going to be stuck in your merkaba, but you're not going to see decay. You're going to see creatures, nasty monsters, whatever, because that's what it's going to be on the astral level of what you're seeing. Thought has image to it. Everything is thought and everything is alive. So you will see it like a gruesome creature or some funny shit as it eats you up, and you could run around not just in your body, it's like you're running around in universes. So you're always going to be running around forever until you finally cease to exist, expire like something fading away like a smoke cloud. But you yourself probably won't be conscious for that process, because if your soul never awakened, you won't know. So you can Google soulless and see what comes up. It's a lot of thing with it. It's people who have no real ambition. They're always depressed or sad. It's a lot of characteristics. Like I said, we all born soulless in a way until you wake that soul up. There's people whose soul is already there in their system and they live in their life, but they're following ancient traditions. You see, they don't act like regular people, eating chemical food in the hospitals and really living like carefree, like a child with a spoon in their mouth and he and all the time, and think life is really about good. It's a balance. I'm not here to promote it because we're about unity, uniting all forces. We don't see good and bad. We only see one thing, experiences. You got to understand how experiences work. There's people here that can't say no. They like gullible ass people. So they have to go through bad things for them till they say no. And a lot of them go through hell and they still won't know. They put themselves through the worst situations in relationships, even in situations with friendships, and they still can't say no. So you got to realize there is bad things happening to these people until they wake the fuck up. Just like now there's people here that is always saying the opposite, always saying no. And so they get a lot of different experiences of people trying to do good to them, even though they fucking a piece of shit and a dickhead, and they feel it in their consciousness, but they still won't say it. So you got a whole bunch of different algorithms of night and day, good and bad going on, and you can't take people's cycle away talking about we have to make the world good and we got to stop doing this, because what you're doing is taking people away from the experience of what the soul needed that it chose before it came here. This is a great big mind mirroring, the whole universe. So everybody have their own lessons they have to go through. So don't look at it as good or bad. If your man got shot, that's his karma. That's not your karma. That's his lesson and your lesson too, if you pay attention to it. But that don't mean you're supposed to change the whole situation now. Just like I'm not promoting violence or robbery or thievery. To be honest with you, I'm going to tell you how it really worked through the eyes of the higher forces. The higher forces look at the person who comes to rob you as somebody hungry and needing it. And they see you as glutton because you have enough of it to give them and just go away. But you're going to fight for it, defend it like it's like gold. When in reality, give it to them. They hungry. If they came to take it like that with force, they must be fucked up. So what's the big deal? We held these material things like it's greater than that, and we'll risk our life to hold on to it. So I don't know. You need to restructure this whole system on what we're doing. We're pushing people in the corner and they're starving them to death. And if they have no choice to feed their kids and they come out with their little ratchets to get some food, you ready to kill them. But you got more than enough for you, them, and others, and you're not going to help them. This is what you call the Christian church. When you look at the Christian church, that's what they do. They get in this building and they praise together and worship and say that they believe and they do this. They walk out there, they turn their head and they walk away from you because they don't want to have nothing to do with you. Only thing they do is in that building. But you don't see the people themselves who talk about that they love God and love Jesus Christ outside the building, giving away, I don't give a fuck if it's a pencil, a notebook, a crayon, giving away something, helping. You're not helping the poor. You're not helping the deprived. All you're doing is keeping your shit and securing it to yourself. That's the worst, lowest thing you could do in the world, man. Every day is a new day to get new stuff. Whatever you got today is going to be not worthless tomorrow. Even the iPhones, everything. Shit is the updated one fucked up the last one. That been like that. We always get upgrades every day. So you got to stop taking that shit valuable, man, and stop treating your neighbor like they some fucking terrorists or something. When you walking down the street, you don't do this, but when you get in them churches, hey girl, and your loving sister and your brother, ain't your fucking sister or brother, y'all talk about each other. That's the truth. So I'm just leaving it at that because that's where the soulless live. And they promote that soulless shit to the rest of the world who's trying to read these Eastern books, getting into their Kundalini, getting into their ancient history, just like everybody in the East do. Everybody outside the United States do that. United States want to make up their own soulless doctrines and believe that because you got a group of people that is soulless leading it, and you got a whole bunch of sheeps in society that promotes it and believe in it because they soulless too. But your government know what it is. You understand? And they're not going to let it go down that way because it has to be done that the soulless and the soul is living as one. Now, it's a bad thing for everybody, but it also has a lot to do now with waking up the goddess in the female and waking up the god in the male. That's the problem with us. We don't realize that there's more to this. It's a deeper story that's like a rabbit hole into many webs, spider webs and everything. And with this now, this is where the feminine Lilith energy come in. Because you have not just a soul, you have a spirit. The spirit overshadows everything. And this spirit is what we call the dragon of Tiamat and Lilith. That's why, back now is the draconian initiation. Really, we are dragons more than we would say we are humans. We're not humans. I don't know who made up that term and what's the definition of it and what do you really define as a human. I don't see it that way. I see species, many species of people. Even in races, there's two different species, even though you're the same two race. So you got to know your star species, else you don't know who you are. That's in your DNA and genetics, because these is how these higher beings connect to you. That's how you dream. Where you go through is through your genetics. So if you don't understand that, you don't understand really the soul. The soul itself now of the woman that's coming back, it's like an old time tale that been around for a long time, that the government hide, or priests hide. Nobody knows this information. They tell you one side of the story, like there's a Messiah or Jesus supposed to come, but that's not the true story. Of course, it's like your government. They're not going to tell you who the terrorist is or who the bad guy is. They're just going to give you clues and bullshit. So it's the same thing. It's not Jesus. It's the coming back of the spirit of this opposing force, like how Jesus opposed everything. Well, it's supposed to come back in the form of the female, but not just in the form of a female. It's the feminine energy. It's on men too, but men have to be able to understand how it works. It's not saying you're going to be gay or act feminine. It means that you was too macho and not in tune with your psychic self. That means that woman's been psyching you out all this time and know before you move what you're going to do, what you're going to think. But you didn't know all this stuff because all you care about is some pussy and her shape and how she treats you. You understand? But she's manipulating the boards all around, and she know you like a baby. You nothing to her. You got to step your game up and play on the level they're on. They don't care about all that features that y'all care about. They more psychically. You make love to a woman's mind. That's why, sometimes you think you're married to her, but you're really not. That's not your woman. And the same thing. It's like you want to possess a body, but you don't realize that body is a soul. And the soul is different. Nobody owns a soul. The soul is given to another person by a higher being. That person don't pick it. That's why you like, I don't know why I love this nigga or how I fell in love, how this happened. It's because it was an issue by something higher than you. This is what you need. They give you what you need, but we usually chase lust and desires, and those desires make us blind to the truth of really what's going on, so we have these bad experiences. Now, a lot of this now, you got to realize it has to do with yourself. You have a self in you that just want to live. It don't really want to learn. It don't want to know no algebra. It don't want to know no history. Who want that? They just want to laugh and be entertained. You want to be amused. And the muses come now, or the jokes in yourself come. Now your life has to evolve around always eluding that part of your life, the truth in yourself, when you are soulless. So you hang with other soulless people, you be around them and you get information from them, but it don't really do anything for you. It just is like, hey, that's cool, I like that, Bob. As long as they agree with me, we cool, that's their desire. But if they disagree with you or challenge your beliefs, fuck you, I hate you, and whatever, y'all don't want it. And that's how we are. We do things in ways that it's like we don't see happiness in the sense of what it really is. Happiness is a desire that you always want to chase. So what make you happy today is not what's going to make you happy tomorrow. And then your happiness is not the same as this person's happiness and that person's happiness. So this is how wars come in, because you have principle amongst your happiness, but you don't share the same principle. These two principles is what make people fight. Everybody fight over one thing, and that's principle. And so this principle comes from happiness. Once you're chasing happiness, it's like you're a destructive force and you don't care what you have to do to get it. The proper thing you're supposed to be trying to get is peace, a peace of mind, a peace from all them credit, a peace from all the bills. Pay your shit up for a year in advance. Fuck you keep doing this monthly shit for all your fucking life. How long you gonna keep that shit up? Sacrifice some shit, pay your shit for a year, and stack your bread within a year. Work your ass off, and you'll be ahead of the game. Way we doing shit, you know you have 30 days to make what? Right? Come on, man. Stop that shit. You living under the bank or under the borderline. You gotta fall back. Go back home with your mother and shit, and save your money. Save your money for a year, and don't spend none of it. Tell mommy to feed you and clothe you and pay her own rent for a year. You making what, 32,000 for that year working? That's 32,000. You bust her down 10,000 cash at the end of the year. You got 22,000 for yourself. And you can make a move. You could think. But just getting a job, you get your check, you got to give it to the rent man, you got your kids to take care of, and now you fucked up, you need 2 jobs, you lost your soul. Your soul done eject from your body. You following what's called ordinance now. Now you're just doing what you have to do. You're like on autopilot. You don't have you inside yourself. So the ancestors knocking, boom, 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 boom. You don't see it. You can never see your destiny or how to awaken your soul because you're busy chasing 2 things. Your finances to keep yourself and your family stable and your desire to want to fuck. You understand? That's all you care. You want a king, you want a queen, you want some sex. So these 2 things is the lower animal things that you have to go beyond to the higher self. That's why you hear that shit, give up all your material things and seek to the higher. It has a real true meaning and the benefits for you because that's the only way. By giving up what means the most to you, you showing that you are willing to part with something else inside of yourself, which will be the flesh, as how it's taken spiritually when you make that determination. So this is how you will have to do when you're talking about your choices. Every choice you make determines your future. And if, your future is never definite or defined yet because you're always making choices. Each one changes your future. So you can always change your future by your choice and the way you're thinking. By you now grasping how to breathe correct, you can stop thinking. And this process of stopping to think by the breath, I don't know, I'm going to stop this video here and just do it on the next one so that it won't be too long.